Jagrata, Jai Masters. Spirituality can be viewed as mystical, or it can be viewed as the essence of living science, which to most makes no sense. They think it's a non sequitur, science and spirituality. Somebody who is truly spiritual fully embraces science. The mind can think anything. You know that. Some people think they came from Mars. Think anything you want. They used to think that the Earth was the center of the solar system. Galileo got locked up for saying that the sun was the center of the solar system. The church locked him up. Therefore, they thought that, he thought that, they think anything you want. There's a difference, though. He was observing and scientifically measuring and calculating and discovering what's actually going on, as opposed to what do you think is going on? What do you want to think is going on? What does the Bible say? What does the Torah say? What did so-and-so say? Do you understand that? If somebody says something, you hear it and you decide. Somebody can say something, you believe it or not, right or wrong. What is a belief? Do you know this? No, I believe this. A belief means my mind has decided to hold on to this thought. I believe this to be true. I believe she loves me more than anybody in the whole world. That's wonderful. How do you feel about that? I love that belief. Well, she's running away with somebody else. Ah! I don't believe it anymore. In fact, I don't believe she'll run away with somebody else. But she is. A belief is of mind. It has no meaning. Now, that's an exaggeration. Why? Because your mind is going to think things. That's what minds do. They think things. Okay? If your mind's going to think anything, for example, her mind thinks, I'm going to go off this guy. All right? I would like you to believe that you'll go to hell. That's a very good belief, if that's how you're thinking. However, if on the other hand, you think if you say something wrong, or if you have a spot on your pants where you're going to go to hell, you didn't do it perfectly, and you forgot to do this, you forgot to do that, and not everybody loves you, that's not a good belief. So some beliefs help you with the problem of your mind. They are of mind, and they help you with the problem of mind. But they're just beliefs. They're just like clouds. If you need them, yes, have them. And try to have good ones. Well, what does that mean? Go to this religion, they'll tell you that one. This religion, they'll tell you that one. They'll tell you what to believe. Do you believe that the commandment, I wrote this the other day, made me think about it, that the first commandment, thou shalt not kill. Do you believe in that commandment? Well, what about wars? What about Hitler? What about mercy killings? What about anything? Uh-oh. I just challenge your belief. Well, by the way, when it says thou shalt not kill, does that include mosquitoes? Does that include animals? Just don't think about it. Don't do it. Because you're not going to get anywhere. And so what you end up doing, because we're so addicted to our thoughts and to our mind, is grabbing onto some, pushing away others, and standing there saying, I'm the one who believes this. Mazel tov. Something changed, you'll believe something else. Have you ever changed your beliefs? Answer me. Okay. So that's what a belief is. Science also changes all the time. It's funny. They don't say, I believe that the earth is round. They say, I see, my science shows me the earth is round. Well, what if you find it's really kind of pear-shaped, it's not exactly round? Then the scientists change. That's fine. I once heard a really beautiful thing. I didn't hear him say it myself, but somebody told me. But it's true, because I looked it up. That they challenged the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama is like the foundation of Tibetan Buddhism. You know, that is what he is. He's carrying the torch of all that ancient tradition. And somebody once asked him, well, you teach all these holy scriptures, and they talk about creation and how things happen and what things are and all that kind of stuff. What do you do when you find out that science finds out that's not true? That your ancestors didn't have it exactly right? You know what he says? I teach what it is now. Why would I teach what they thought? They didn't know as much. Oh my God. Wouldn't that be nice if all traditions did that? So you get to the point where you understand science is trying not to believe things. They're trying to find a foundation of truth, and they're willing to change it. It constantly changes. Einstein changed Newton. All this stuff changes. That is spirituality. Whoa, why is that spirituality? Because spirituality is after truth. That's what it means. It's not a religion. Spirituality is not a religion. Spirituality is not a religion. It is the search for truth. My religion, my beliefs, my structure is based upon that which I can see is true. Not I believe is true, that which I see is true. Okay, your scientists have done a phenomenal job. I've often said, and people don't like it, that today your scientists are your priests. Your scientists are your priests. Why? Because they're finding truths that are so far beyond anything you would make up even believing. But you have to believe it. Why? Because it's the truth. That whether you go to the Chinese scientist or the Russian scientist or the American scientist or Indian scientist, doesn't matter. There are certain truths that they have come down to. Now, they don't claim that there won't be other ones. No scientist could ever say that. But they have found foundations of truth. And so I'm not going to get into it. I have gotten into it in detail before, but I'm not going to. Like, for example, the quantum field. We'll just start building the talk off of that. That's a nice thing to do. I can say all have gotten down to the quantum field. Well, what does that mean? Well, it's not hard to understand. It's really not. It's not. You don't have to know quantum theory and quantum mechanics and that stuff. You just understand that you were told that it's made of atoms. Scientists thought it was the smallest unit that was making up the universe. It's kind of like when you look at your flat screen TV, you see pictures. That makes it nice. It's entertaining. Look a little closer. It's not pictures, it's pixels, isn't it? And what I like is you know that. You guys are amazing. 500 years ago, they didn't know what the word pixel meant. They didn't even know conception that you could take dots of just a handful of colors, not all that different, and put them on a screen close enough together and step back and watch a movie. That's what they thought atoms were. Those dots that made up this movie. It's not really what you're looking at. It looks like that, just like when you step away from the flat screen TV, it looks like a picture, a beautiful, high res. Now we got 4K, whatever it is, all right? High res stuff. But it's really just those dots, no matter how fine the dots get. So it's really just atoms. That's all you're looking at. And your eye averages them out. That's the truth. It's important that you build the foundation of your life upon truth. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. These are the truths that set you free. So it's not really your girlfriend running over with another guy. It's just a bunch of dots. I laugh too, but guess what? It's true. So now we come down and we see that it's dots. Science gave us that. That freed you. It gave you a place to step back and say, I believe it's just dots. Well, you're right. Okay? I believe it's just dots. And how many, no, when you deal with the dots on the flat screen, there's different colors. They're all the same shape, but there's different colors, right? Okay. However, there are different types of dots that are making up your flat screen TV. Here, this real world one. But not that many. Look at the complexity of what's created. The clouds and water and all the fish and all the animals and all the colors and every single thing is made of those dots. How many different types of, your whole body, your liver, your kidney, your blood, every single thing is made of those dots. So what are there? 96 natural, 98 natural, total 100-something types of those dots. That's the types of atoms there are. That's what we call it, the periodic table. The periodic table is very spiritual. I'm glad we're talking about this. Don't you dare think, well, I never took physics or chemistry. I never took physics or chemistry. But I have a periodic table, big, nice, beautiful periodic table sitting in my den, so that I remember that that's what I'm looking at. There's nothing, anywheres, all the galaxies, everything. They have not found any elements other than those elements. Maybe someday they'll find other ones. They've made some. They're man-made elements that managed to get the atoms to put themselves together in different structures, but it's still just a handful. That periodic table is not very big. The squares are kind of large. That is every single thing you have ever interacted with your entire life. Your body, your this, your that, everything. And then you step back, and this is why I'm telling you that science, it gives you spirituality, liberates you. So now I ask you a question. Visualize a periodic table, right? The little squares, different colors, different columns, all right? Which of those do you like and which don't you like? Which is male and which is female? Which is right and which is wrong? Which is good and which is bad? No, it doesn't exist at that level, does it? Mind. There's the difference. That's what science gives you. It takes you out of your personal mind that makes up all this stuff. Oh, I like that one. No, you don't. But if I put them together, ooh, I like that one. And you start to understand that science is your friend. It takes you past these made-up things that you decide to believe in your mind. Like I said, there's not a reasonable scientist out there of any culture or anything that does not understand the periodic table. Okay, so then you go from the periodic table. How did it become this? Because they bond together different ways. Who decided that? Einstein didn't decide that. It just is the way it is. Wow. You mean it's beyond belief. It's a truth that certain ones will bond together, such as hydrogen and oxygen. How do they bond together? I don't know. For some reason, two hydrogens, you get friends with one oxygen, and you get water. Wow. It's like a magic trick. All right? The point is, you're not doing it. That's the next important thing to realize. You did not make this place. None of you, not a single human being, made this place that you were born into, or your body that you're living in. 25 trillion cells make up your body. 25 trillion living cells make up your body. Which one of those cells did you make? None. I'll give you $7 billion. Make me one. I tell a pregnant woman, oh, you're making a baby, having a baby, you're making a baby, that's really beautiful. Make me an eyeball. You can't do it, can you? You can't even imagine doing it. It's happening by itself. Now we're starting to merge science with spirituality, aren't we? What does that mean there's God? I don't use the word God. What a misused word. You know what God's about? What you believe. That's what the word God means. What do you believe? Christ, Buddha, Krishna, this, that, the other thing. God created the universe. But you know what God is? That's my favorite. I have bumper stickers. I don't put them in my car, but I love some bumper stickers. The one I like the most, is it says, God is my co-pilot. You relegated the creator of the universe down to your co-pilot. Now, there's some ego stuff going on there. So you get down to where you understand science is not playing around with that stuff. It looks at it and says, no, I'm studying what happened, what is. I didn't make it. I didn't make the periodic table. I made the periodic table, but I didn't make the elements that I discovered made up the periodic table. And I didn't make the covalent and different types of bonds that cause those different atoms to bond together different ways, et cetera, et cetera. And that could be a whole discussion. Just build the universe from the periodic table, and you can. Just give me enough of each type and leave them alone, by the way. If you take hydrogen and oxygen atoms separate, and you just throw them together into a bin, water will show up. Did you know that? They will put themselves together every time the same way, because those are the underlying laws of science that explain why different electrons get together and this, that, and the other thing. All right? You don't have to get into the detail. It gets very complicated. But you can at least understand what's going on instead of just understanding what you make up in your mind. And that, if that were enough, should free you to realize when you wake up in the morning, why is it that your bed and your dresser and the carpet and the roof ceiling are still there? You were sleeping. Don't sleep on the job, guys. The whole thing will fall apart. It doesn't fall apart, does it? Pretty amazing. And by the way, those of you who say, I don't believe in God and I don't believe in faith, oh yeah, you have faith that dresser's going to be there in the morning. You have faith that body's still going to be there when you wake up. It's amazing. You have faith in science. You don't realize it. What your faith in is truth. The truth is, this is what's going on, and you didn't make it, and you're not making it be there in the morning, and you ain't doing squat. And I'll get in trouble because I'm going to go further than God is my co-pilot, right? I am the co-creator of my life. I'm sorry. That is the most ridiculous thing that ever... I mean, yes... If life is making 99.999999999999999% of everything, and you're somehow influencing point, oh, whoa, 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 whoa. So you don't believe that. You think you're influencing your co-creator, aren't you, right? All right, what if your cells in your body didn't do what they're doing right now? If one doesn't do what it's supposed to do, you call it cancer. So you're not doing squat compared to what's going on. Right? Do you make your body every morning come back and 25 trillion cells talk to each other perfectly in kidneys and endocrine systems and, oh my God, it's pretty complicated stuff, isn't it? Are you doing it? No, I didn't study medicine. It's still happening. Isn't it? Right? That's pretty amazing. But you're the co-creator, aren't you? Do you have the ability to create thoughts? Do you all create thoughts? Do you have to think about things? Who gave you that ability? But if you had Alzheimer's or something, you didn't have the ability anymore. What would you do? You don't know where it came from. It was a gift. The ability to think is a gift that was given to you, wasn't it? You're not the co-creator of anything. How come you don't fall through the earth when you take a step? You know, they sit there and say that the distance within an atom of the electrons and the nucleus are greater than the distance between planets. It's all empty. Well, why don't you fall through? Did you ever think about that? I don't understand. Because the electrons are negatively charged, when your feet, which are outer shell are electrons, and the floor outer shell are electrons, they repel each other. Do you ever try to push together two negative poles or positive poles of a magnet? That's why you don't fall to the floor. Period. Did you ever think about that? Instead, you're thinking about what do I want, what do I not want, what do I like, why did he do that? Those are called personal thoughts versus impersonal thoughts. Spirituality is about impersonal thoughts. That's all spirituality is about. Personal thoughts are the fall from the garden. That's where you fell. You fell from truth into, I don't like this. I was glad he said that. Oh my God, I can't handle this. I can't believe he said that. Why would he say such a thing? I don't. Anybody do that with their mind? And what can I do so he doesn't say it again? Put him on the couch for 3 weeks. Go to bed without supper. Wow, far out. All right? The truth is, what you're interacting with is enormous. It's enormous. It's phenomenal. But you don't think about that. So if you want to say that you're co-creating your universe, just forget about the fact that there's a universe and just think about yourself. But look what I did. You didn't do anything if the rest wasn't there. Do you understand that? It's all there. Oh my God, the whole universe is there. We've talked about that so many times. This is science teaching you about liberation, teaching about freeing yourself. So it's not important what you're doing here. It's not. It's meaningless. You drop down out of who knows where into this body that you didn't make, and nor did mommy and daddy. One cell, one fertilized cell, you can need a microscope to look at it, left to its own, made that body with the liver and the kidney and the pancreas and the eyeballs and the blood and the whole system, every single system. Do you understand that? All by itself, it made that. If you left it alone, what did it make it out of? Carrots, Twinkies, and Coke. No, seriously, probably if you ate Twinkies and Coke, it would figure out how to make a body out of that. Anybody really willing to think properly? You're telling me that individual cell has a molecule. What's a molecule? A bunch of atoms linked together. Okay, so now we have some atoms linked together off the periodic table, and those atoms know how to take other molecules, chemically break them down as a chemist, and they were carrot cells, and now they're eyeballs. Right or wrong? All right? And it does it out of air, and out of minerals, and out of the food that you eat, and out of the sunshine, and it just sits in there and makes this body all by itself. When you didn't do squat. Wake up. That's what it means to wake up spiritually. That's how you think. Not, oh, I hope it's perfect. I hope it doesn't inherit a hammer toe or something. Or, it's miraculous that it made a toe. It's miraculous, isn't it? And I haven't used the word God yet. You don't have to use the word God. Just stop using the word I. Shh, take a breath. It is not your baby. You did not make it. It is not your car. You don't know what it took to make that car? that had the mining and the minerals and the intelligence that got put in over the years that built every single thing. I mean, it's pretty complicated stuff, all right? You walk in, put down a piece of paper, or write on a piece of paper, or don't even. Just push a button to transfer something, all right? It's mine. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? So it's the truth. You are there, and you're the recipient of this amazing process called life, which is just a bunch of atoms over. Oh my God, you can't even talk about it. And I said to you, what you do is meaningless. What you do is meaningless. How dare you not think it's meaningless? You're born, and what does it mean? It means your consciousness dropped into this body that made itself. It dropped out. It went from this big to 5 to 6 feet. Did you do that? Would you stretch a machine? Come on, exercise, stretch it out on a rack or something. It does it by itself. And it's not going to do it unless there's air, and you didn't make the air, and you didn't make the rain. How dare you think you're the co-creator when you're not doing anything? And then you live for a certain period of time, which is very, very short, by the way. We'll talk about that. But he's 100. Are you kidding me? The earth has been here for 4.5 billion years, and you're going to hang out for 100. It's pretty meaningless, isn't it? And then what happens? You die. I don't want to die. Too bad. It's too bad. You're going to die. Everyone's going to die. Everything dies. I like statistical studies. You know, they have correlation coefficients and how good the scatter graph, the fit is and all that stuff, right? I'm telling you, somebody studied this. There is a 1-to-1 correlation between that which is born and that which dies. There's no question about it, is there? What is going on then? I don't understand. And even that, it seems so meaningless that you spend 100 years of a life that you're not making, you didn't make it. You interact with everything all day. Did you make it all? You're not doing anything. This is so stupid. All you're doing is making a mess. That's what you're making. Why? Now you start to see where science, we're talking science so far, right? No, nobody has any problem. Now let's see where science touches real spirituality. What do you mean I'm making a mess? Everything is already made and is being made, and it's not by you or anybody else. The fact that you move something from here to there, what is a something and who gave you muscles? And I can't even talk about it. What you're doing is so small, it's so ridiculous. Okay? What does it mean, a mess? How did I make a mess? Because in that mind that we started talking about, that you get to believe and make up anything you want. Anything you want. Just make it up. They do it nowadays, don't they? Right? Just make it up and say it enough times, baby, and it's the truth. Right or wrong, all right? It's a crazy world we live in. But that's mine. Mine can do that. You're welcome to do that, all right? So basically, at that point, what you have done, let's get down to real spirituality, you have done with your mind is make up the way all those atoms and all those laws and all the past creation is supposed to be when it passes before you. It's called a preference. That's a funny word. In spirituality, it's a dirty word. It doesn't have 4 letters. It's way worse than those. All right? You make up in your mind how you want things to be, don't you? And how you don't want it to be. You're serious about that. Okay? We just talked about where it all came from. It doesn't come from you or your mind as a reality. It's been here for 4.5 billion years, and every single thing that unfolds in front of you is a result of every single thing that ever happened before. There's no independent, isolated event. It is all a continuum of space-time moving through and passing the results of yesterday into today. And if it wasn't, you'd freak out because you want it to be, when you wake up in the morning, the way it was when you went to bed. Einstein said something really beautiful. He said, it's all an illusion, albeit a very persistent one. He literally said that. If it's just here today and gone tomorrow, we don't get all attached to it. But the damn thing stays. Okay? So that basically you have developed in your mind something that is not scientific in any way, shape, or form. And I know you don't care, but if you come here, you're going to care. Right? That's ridiculous to ignore science, isn't it? And you're not even doing it for spirituality. You're doing it for your I. I want him to like me and not her. Wow. What a statement. There are reasons that things are unfolding the way they are. People have history. They had parents and they had things they were taught and they had different problems they had in their life. Ask psychology. That's a science. It sits there and says your thought patterns and your preferences and your concepts and views and hopes and dreams and all that stuff, that's all mind, are patterned on your past experiences. Man is the sum of his past experiences. Do you doubt that your thoughts and your hopes and your dreams and your constant views are the sum of your past experiences? You think you woke up in the morning and just made them all up? What you like and what you don't like? Not a single thing that you like or don't like did you decide to like or not like. You had experiences in the past that felt good and experiences in the past that felt bad. And I wonder which ones you like and which ones you don't like. Can your preferences change in 1/1,000,000th of a second by getting one more piece of information? God, I really thought I loved her. It was really beautiful. No one ever told me that she was a serial killer. All of a sudden, it all changes. You wanted her to really be attracted to you. Now she wants to stay away from me. In 1/1000,000th of a second. One more experience. Am I exaggerating? Well, how many experiences have you had in your life? Every one of them has formulated the way your mind thinks. And so basically, you go to a movie. Oh, I want that. I want to grow up to be like that. You read a book. Anything. You meet somebody. It's programming you. What is life? Experiences. You don't understand that. You're not who you think you are. You're not who you think you are. You're the one who notices there are thoughts. Let's just get there so we talk a little more spiritual about what you like. Do you have thoughts? Do you have preferences? Do you notice they're a problem? Who notices? Who is in there noticing when it says, I like that. I want that to happen again. Somebody noticed that, didn't they? That is the essence of spirituality. The consciousness that is aware that the mind has done all of this. But we don't pay attention in any way, shape, or form. We are so distracted by the power of those preferences that we forget all of science. The preferences are not based on science. But you said that there's some of my learned experiences. I love giving you this. I don't know if you ever get it. So you're here having an experience. You're having an experience right now, aren't you? I hope it's a nice one. But anyway, you're having an experience. How many experiences are you missing that are going on right now in reality all over the world? The number's so big you can't even count it. 700 billion quillion. That's how many experiences I'm missing. And you're getting programmed by one. Every moment you're only being programmed by one, and you're missing 700 billion trillion. Every moment of your life. And you think you know something. You honestly believe you know something. How can you know anything if you only know 1 out of 700 billion trillion every single second, and you're missing everything else? You don't know anything. Is that a truth or not? Wake up. So what's happening is your mind is very naturally picking up the experience that it's having. It can't pick up the experience it's not having, not the personal mind, so it's picking the experience it's having. Since that's the only experience it has, it builds this entire structure of preferences, concepts, views, hopes, dreams, beliefs, all of it, based on those experiences. What does that mean about that stuff? It's meaningless, is it not? Look at me, all right? This is tough. There's tough love here, all right? It's meaningless. How can it be meaningful? It's only based on nothing. I know what the weather's like in Spain. I was there once for a few minutes. That's what we do, isn't it? Okay? So now you've developed in your mind the concepts and views and preferences and hopes and dreams and beliefs and all that stuff that's mind based on this meaningless experience that you've had. But you say, well, why are you calling my experience meaningless? Because you missed everything. Go walk into a movie that's 2 hours and watch 1 second of what's on the screen and walk out and tell everybody about that movie. You're laughing. That's what you're doing. Take a breath. We being scientific enough here? Spirituality is not about blindly believing things. It's about daring to look at truth. And if you look at that truth, something very great happens. You stop marrying your mind. You stop looking at your stupid mind, and you look at it and you sit there and say, I got one. We all got one. But it's not who I am. I'm the one who had these experiences. I'm not the mind that got formulated based on the meaningless experiences I had. And if that's not meaningless enough, the experience you had, you did have an experience, no question about that. Would have had a really traumatic experience. Some terrible thing happened. It only took a few minutes, but it was terrible. It just took over my whole life. One experience. Everything else was going on at that time. Everything else goes on after that time, but you don't. Is that truth? I got to be tough with you. How meaningful was that experience in reality? It was a car accident. It was a car accident. What does that mean? It means that in the realm of creation, objects are moving through time and space, and they happen to coincide at that moment. If your coffee took longer to cook, to brew, we wouldn't have had that accident. If they paid more attention and saw the light change, that's how tenuous this is. And it's going to determine the entire rest of your life. How's that feel? How's that sound? You're the highest species ever walked the face of the earth. Really, one moment when everything else is going on, you happen to experience that moment, everything will go on after that, but not you. Why? Because you're not paying attention to what's going on, or you paid too much attention to that one moment. It got stuck in your mind. It didn't get stuck in earth. It's not happening again. It's not like the Groundhog Day, boom, boom, happened over and over again. It happened once, 20 years ago. Happened once 20 years ago, or at least I think it happened. I'm not sure what she meant by that, but it was traumatic to me. That really hurt me. Ever done that? Ever been wrong with what somebody really meant or anything like that? I'm trying to show you how thin the ice is. I'm going to cry. I love you. Why would he talk to me like that? Because I love you. I don't want you to have to do this and live like this. That's ridiculous, isn't it? So now you have this one experience. It's gone. And all the other experiences are happening also. You're welcome to say, oh, well, at the same time this was happening. I guess it's just one experience. Wouldn't it be nice if you could do that? Just, okay, this is what happened to me at this moment. But, the sun was shining elsewhere, and this happened and that happened. All kinds of things were happening. Okay. And now new things are happening to me. But no, you won't let them. That's the essence of spirituality. You won't let new things happen. That thing got stuck in your mind. It didn't get stuck in reality, did it? It's not even there anymore. It'll never be there again. But somehow it got stuck in your mind, and now your whole life looks like that. Why? Because you're looking at your mind. The great masters taught you, you are not your mind. You are staring at your mind. Who is? You are. Who are you? Not the mind. If I look at my hand, I see my hand. I'm not my hand. I'm the one who sees my hand. I know I don't like it. I want to talk about it. What if a hand got lobbed off? Would I know it? Then I'm not my hand. I'm the one who saw the hand. Now it doesn't. Where did it go? It's still in there. Same guy. That's who you are. You're the indwelling consciousness who's experiencing these experiences. And one of the experiences you're experiencing is your mind. You're staring at your thoughts. And if something happens that stays stuck in there, now we'll talk about how that happens, it stays stuck in there, then that's your life. That's your life. You actually define yourself. Who are you? I'm so-and-so's wife. I'm so-and-so's husband. Oh, you didn't exist before you met them, right? Okay? This is called letting go. It's called dying to be reborn. This is called ceasing to lie to yourself about who you are. So it's not true that I'm so-and-so's husband. I am the indwelling consciousness that noticed that these people got married. I can remember being there. Yeah. Who? You. I had the experience. I'm going to experience this. I'm not this. I'm going to exist whether it happened or not. I just have another experience. That's what it means to liberate yourself, to be open, to be willing to come down into this amazing place where all these atoms made all this by themselves and all these things are happening and a bunch of people running around that are the sum of their learned experiences that think they're right. Everybody thinks they're right. Come on, look at politics, look at all this, like everybody thinks they're right because everybody looks inside their mind and says, no, I saw this myself. I've had this experience. I'm not making this up. This is true. So what? How many didn't you have? What else was going on at this? I'm trying to really make you look at it. What else was going on at the same time that you didn't experience? Why is your experience more important than the one you didn't have? It's not. It's just the moments are unfolding on the planet Earth, and you happen to be standing there at that moment. It's just what happened in front of you. And so you get to the point where you start to understand there's something really wrong here. And the fact that the mind clings to what I liked and what I didn't like, and then I build these preferences, and now what do? I've ruined my life. You think your preferences are what make your life meaningful. If I get what I want, I'm happy. If I don't get what I want, I'm not. And if I get what I don't want, I'm really not. It's a truth table, a 4-quadrant truth table. You get what you want, you're happy. You don't get what you want, you're disappointed. You get what you don't want, or what you prefer not to have, if you don't like it. You get what you really don't want, and you're broken. You don't want to live anymore. That's really funny. That's what your mind did to you. The world just goes on. The world just goes on. It goes about its business. But your mind did this, and you are staring at your mind. Spirituality doesn't destroy the mind. It says, stop it. Let it just be what it is. It's just a mind that remembers certain things. Just keep remembering. And everything I'm talking to you about, they have these experiences. How big is the place that you're standing on the planet Earth compared to the size of the Earth? I can't even, there's no measurement small enough. There it is. And I told you, I'll tell you every time, 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And how big is the place you're standing in a moment on the planet Earth? And you're going to build your life based on that. That's the most important thing that ever existed in the universe. How often do you think about the rest of the galaxies? Never. How often do you think about your husband and your wife and your kids and your car and your this and what happened? How often do you think about what happened to you 20 years ago that bothered you? Anybody waking up? Okay, that's the difference between scientifically founding your life on truth and just making one up based on the meaningless experiences that you've had. People write me and said, why are you saying the experience I had was meaningless? It was meaningful. To me, sure it was. Out of the 8.3 billion people on the planet right now, how many people think that your experience that you had 20 years ago are meaningful enough to build your life on? No one. Is anybody seeing what's going on here? There's something drastically wrong. So you wake up and you realize something's wrong. What's happening? And now we're going to talk about what's happening here. What's happening is I'm here, conscious, but I'm conscious of my preferences first. The self, the consciousness, looks through the mind, through the emotions, through the eyes, and out into the world. That's the truth. They're like shells, layers of your being. Your mind is closer to your consciousness than your body is. So when you look at your body, here, I'll prove it to you. Go stand and look in the mirror. What do you see? Your body. No, you don't. You see what you think about your body. Oh, it's getting old. Oh, I'm getting fat. Oh, I look too thin. You see what I'm saying? You look through your mind that has all these concepts and views and preferences and hopes and dreams and all that kind of garbage. You look through that. That's your body you look at. You look at the whole world that way. Who's that? A girl. No, it's not a girl. It's a girl that I kind of was interested in once, but she didn't talk to me. Uh-oh. Is it true that you look through your mind first? And your emotions, that's a whole other ballgame. They don't even try to be rational. They just, ah! And you look through those first, don't you? Just look out there and see someone that your mind doesn't like. It's just atoms. It's just atoms, a particular collection of atoms that put themselves together that way, that made themselves inside of a womb and fell out some years ago. And you look at it, and the mind goes this, and the heart goes, or woo, and you go right with it. Yes or no? Ever see someone you don't like, that little argument a couple of days ago, something like that, and you're walking, and you don't think they see you yet, and you actually walk around the block? Come on, laugh and blush. You walk around the block so you don't have to interact with them. You're not looking at physical reality, except that you're looking through your mental and your emotional bodies, we can call them that, right? Those vibrations, and then it tinges everything you see and will tinge everything you don't see. Very non-scientific. That's why science is good. If you dare to live it, it forces you to get real. Get real. It's just a bunch of atoms you're looking at. How can you be so weird about it? Well, I said to you, at some point when you start talking about preference, you start understanding spirituality. Like Buddha was very, very deep. Buddha's teachings were as deep as they come. And Buddha's noble truths are not difficult to understand if you understand what we just talked about, and I know now you do. What did Buddha say? All of life is suffering. Well, that's pretty negative. You're struggling all the time to try to be okay. When you're young, you want to toy. When you're old, you want to go to a nursing home. But you're struggling all the time to be okay. Why? Because you're bringing preferences into a world that has nothing to do with you. The moment unfolding in front of you, you didn't make it. It didn't ask for a vote. Right? When you wake up in the morning, do all the moments that are going to happen today come in front of you and say, how do you want me to be? You know damn well they don't. That's why you're struggling. That's why I have tension. That's why I have anxiety. What does anxiety mean? Something might happen that isn't the way I want. Decent definition for anxiety? Something might happen that isn't the way I want. Wow, that's the essence of why all life is suffering. Because guess what? Anything can happen. Don't say that, Mickey. Anything can happen, right or wrong. And it can happen all over the place, and who knows what's going to be in front of you. Because I told you once, if you want to be scientists here, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to predict what's going to be in front of you next. The sum of all the effects that happened from all of time came together into this moment, causing this moment to be the way it is. The weather, the past experiences, what anybody said yesterday, all of the cause causes effect, causes cause, causes effect. They just they pass through time and space. That's what reality is, isn't it? That which was causes what is. But I never thought you would say that to me. Why all of a sudden did you say that? Well, do you want a nice discussion? Sit down for the next 10 years and explain to you everything that ever happened to me, that when it interacted together, all the foundation, and all of a sudden this happened to me today, which hit all those things and caused me to say what I said. It didn't come out of nowhere, did it? That goes for psychology, it goes for physics, it goes for chemistry, it goes for every single science. It is all the result of what caused it to be that way. That's what the moment in front of you is. The result of everything that caused it to be that way. You don't care. That's a pretty big thing. The result of everything that ever happened. The sequence of events that caused the moment. This moment. The other moment has its sequence of events. But this moment has its reality and the result of everything that ever happened. And you walk into that moment. And say, I couldn't care less. You're going to be this way. I have a way I want you to be. You be that way. Wow. Is it not true that's what we do? We don't care about science. We don't care about the laws of cause and effect. We don't care about what causes things. When you say to somebody, how could you be like that to me? You don't really want them to tell you. You just don't want them to be like that. You never said here next month, oh, well, okay, I'm sorry. I'm not even sorry. I'm going to explain to you how it happened. No, shut up. Just say you're sorry and say you won't do it again. Like, who wins? My preferences or that stuff out there that's busy doing what it wants to do? And it shouldn't do that. It should do what I want it to do. That's funny. That's true, isn't it? That's why all life is suffering. That's what Buddha said. All life is suffering. Why? It's not what I want. Guess what? The richest person in the world is not getting what they want. The most powerful person in the world has to fight to try and get what they want. Do you understand that? Women don't get what they want. Men don't get what they want. Young people don't get what they want. Old people don't get what they want. All life is suffering. See, Buddha knew what not suffering was, so he gets to call that suffering. But the big one is the second noble truth. It's so deep I can't even talk about it. His words were just a few words. What's the cause of suffering? Whoa. If I sent you out with a homework assignment to write down the cause of suffering, your paper would be so long. There'd be old age and sickness and people's disloyalty and poverty. Right or wrong? Come on, make a cause of suffering. Let's get it like that. No, Buddha didn't do that. He got it in one tiny little sentence. In fact, he got it in one word. One word is the cause of all suffering. And guess what? He's right. We just won't look at it that deeply. The cause of suffering is preference. It's translated as desire. That's what you're used to hearing it. But the Zen patriarchs and others use the word preference, and you should. Why? Because if I say desire, you think of lust and greed is the cause of suffering. No, it's not. The cause of suffering is any preference. Anything you have that you want it to be that way, you will suffer. Why? Because the world is not based on your preferences. It's based on science. It's based on the unfolding of reality. And your preference is not based on the unfolding of reality. It's based on the unfolding of your reality, which, like we said, is not real. You brought into the present moment the sum of your learned experiences. I say this, and this is the essence of what I'm trying to say to you. Please remember it. Is it not true? You brought into the present moment the sum of your learned experiences. The present moment is unfolding in front of you is the sum of its learned experiences. That's called science. Those two have nothing to do with each other. Why would it? You grew up in Connecticut or over here in Massachusetts, you went through this and this. It didn't have any of those experiences. Did it? I know this is tough. This is the essence of spirituality. So the moment in front of you is not the sum of your learned experiences. It's the sum of its learned experiences. Every single thing that ever happened coming together made that moment be the way it is right now. And yours is just the sum of these one momentary experiences that you had, meaningless, but they're meaningful to you, fine. So now we have the sum of your learned experiences interacting with the sum of life's learned experiences. And they're not related, and they're not supposed to be, and therefore you suffer. So if you come into this moment with a preference of how it's supposed to be to make you be okay, you will suffer. Not just big things. I don't want it to rain tomorrow. I'm going camping. Well, that's a preference. It's cloudy. We're not even into tomorrow yet. But it's cloudy out. How you doing? That's the essence of all spirituality. That's why it's one of the Four Noble Truths of Buddha. All of life is suffering. The cause of suffering is preference. Do you see it now? To end suffering, end preference. And then there's the Eightfold Path that he taught. Okay, there's different things, but that the Buddhist taught of how to do that. And that I wanted, because we're running out of time, I don't want to. I want to keep you here so that you can be this open all the time and not go back out there. But where are my shoes? Did someone take my shoes? Someone took my... Oh, there they are. Every moment. Okay? It's pretty amazing. Instead of living life, enjoying, appreciating, interacting fully, it's not that you don't interact with life. Some people say to me, well, how do you get rid of preferences? I've reached the point where you don't. You don't get rid of preferences. That's called suppression. To sit there and, I don't want to prefer this, I won't do this. You know what I'm saying? That's just having a preference not to have preferences. Okay? It's way deeper than that. Preferences have a cause. Everything in life has a cause, doesn't it? What caused your preference? Oh, God, I have only a couple of minutes left. Please get this. What caused your preference? You do have preferences. They do cause suffering. They do cause suffering. Why didn't he call? Is he cheating on me? Preference. He call, preference he do this. Just, you have driven yourself crazy. You have ruined your life with your preferences. You think your preferences are wonderful because when you get them, they happen to work good. And it's good to look forward to them too. Your mind gets to make believe that the world unfolded according to your preferences. You get really excited. Wow. And then it doesn't happen. Oh my God. It's just a yo-yo. It's just crazy. There is a cause of preferences. Just like there's a cause of everything else. You don't get rid of preferences, you get rid of the cause of preferences. That's way deeper, it's more real. You're going to be shocked to find out the cause of your preferences. What is the cause of your preferences? You've had experiences in your life that you stored inside your mind. But mind did not do it by itself. Mind is a field, like the blackboard didn't write on itself. You wrote on a blackboard. The pictures, if I take 2,000 pictures in a minute, the picture doesn't decide which one I should keep. You do. So what you've done is had experiences in your life. They have come in because they're supposed to come in. They came in because you have senses. They come in, they pour in, they pass through. You're having this life. Why, wow, what an experience, isn't it? There's rocks and trees and birds and there's a lot of stuff going on, right? It comes in and let me entertain you. Let me make you smile. That's God says to you. I'm going to make a world for you. It's like Disney World. You're always going to have amazing things happening in front of you. Never will be a moment that there are colors and shapes and sounds. And, oh my God, it's pretty amazing, isn't it? Okay? Just be open. Just let me experience what I've created for you. Spinning through a tiny little ball of dirt in the middle of nowhere that nothing else is anywhere that we've found anywhere. And you have this, and all you do is suffer. You did that. So let it come in. Let it pass through. Fine. That's mine. That's what mine's for. Take it, pass through. We can do other things. But what you did was say no. You resisted. That's a key word. You resisted certain experiences. Maybe I should ask you. I'm sorry. I blamed you. Have you ever resisted an experience that actually happened? What does that mean? You resisted it. Do you resist that which didn't happen? No. You don't even think about it. So it happens. That's called its reality. The dots are doing it. It's coming in. And you're in there experiencing it. But you just, for some reason, you don't have the ability to just experience it. You don't like it. Preference. You sat there and said, no, not on my watch. You didn't say that. You didn't do this. Mommy didn't do this. Daddy didn't do this. No, I can't handle this. How about that one? Have you ever said, I can't handle this? I can't handle this. So what do? You resist it. What does that mean? Oh, it's so deep. It's ridiculous. You have will. Don't ever let them tell you don't have free will. You have free will. But it does not mean that you have free will to make everything be the way you want. That doesn't mean that. It means you have will in there. Don't you? Can you push thoughts away? Can you hold on to them? What did Freud say? You have this thing called suppression. Does the mind suppress or do you suppress? You suppress. You push it away. The mind doesn't do it by itself. You push it away. Where does it go? It stays inside. That's how you build the personal mind. So you've stored inside your mind experiences that you didn't like, haven't you? How many? More than there are stars in the sky. Big ones, little ones, that rained when I didn't want it to, the person said something I didn't like. You're storing inside of you things that disturbed you. What's it going to be like if you store inside everything that ever disturbed you? Disturbed. And that's why you have preferences. It's that easy. It's that simple. You have preferences because you stored inside of you things that you liked and things that you didn't like. And now you want the ones that you like to happen again, and you want the ones that you didn't like to never, ever happen again. In fact, you want them to not have happened. Good luck. Is that not true? Are the things you have in there that they should not have happened, that was wrong, I don't want them to have happened? Well, like I said, that's pretty non-scientific for sure, because they happened. So you push them away, you store them inside of you, and now they are creating preferences. That's where preferences come from. They come from the stuff you stored inside, willfully push them down. Now they come back up as like and dislike. And then events happen outside. They hit those things. Then you have like and dislike. And now your whole world is colored by that. If you let that stuff go and don't store the garbage inside of you, you will not have preferences like that. It will not be a problem. You will sit there and, here, you got married. Fine, you must have loved. It didn't work out so good. It happens. Don't worry, it happens, all right? You get divorced. It used to be the statistic was 50% of all marriages in the United States end up in divorce. So welcome to the good company, all right? So you get divorced. Now what? I want to see. I don't want to see. Believe me, I don't want to see what you do with that. I'm never getting married again, right? In fact, I've had it with men. Men. So now that you have done that, your whole life is colored. You had a bad experience. Fine, you had a bad experience. Try again. You know what you should be? It should be, well, let's say you start dating somebody, you find out she's been married, and you got divorced. You say, I don't want to date a divorcee. She didn't make it, she's a failure, right? I'm married a divorcee. As opposed to, wow, she's so wrong. She's better. He's better. It's just crazy. You store this stuff inside, and it determines the rest of your life. Spirituality says, bottom line, let it go. Let it go and don't put any more in there. Oh my God, I know it's inconceivable. Well, that's why people have trouble with true spirituality. They hang out with beliefs and said, there should be nothing in there from the past. Be here now. Guess what? Christ taught like that. Let the problems of today be sufficient unto today. Don't bring them into tomorrow. Don't go to bed while you have an argument with your neighbor. Work it out first. Wow. If you're called into court, don't even think about what you're going to say. The words will come to you at the time, right? Just stop it. Stop doing this crazy stuff that you're doing of holding on to everything. If you will let go instead of cling, Buddhist word, if today's moments happen, don't worry about the past ones. I'm going to close down. I have to. Don't worry about the past moments. They're too big. You can't deal with them right now. You have to learn how to let go first. You learn how to let go by dealing with the tiny little things that are happening today that you resist. It's too hot. The driver in front of me. People write me, they say, why do you only talk about these simple little things? Why don't you talk about the real big things? Because if you can't handle the simple things, you'll never handle the big things. If you can't do scales, you're not going to play the piano. If you can't practice tennis, you're not going to play tennis. Practice not doing that. Practice not storing garbage inside of you when you have the ability to say, okay, it's hot. I like hot. I tell you what, I learned a long time ago. You know what hot is? I say to Mickey, why is it hot? Well, the sun is hot. I say, sure, wait a minute. What is the sun? He says, a star. You don't like stars? Of course I like stars. Everybody likes stars. You mean there's a twinkle, twinkle out there that you're so close to that you feel its heat? Wow. It's 93 million miles away. Miami's 360. Put all of Miami on fire, you will not feel one single thing up here. Not 1 degree will change. That's 93 million miles away. And you're complaining about the heat from a star because you're so close to a star you can feel its heat. All of a sudden, it's kind of neat, isn't it? You get to do that with your mind instead of the other garbage. You can do that with everything. Start to work with acceptance. Start to work with surrender. Start to work with reality is beautiful. Whatever it is, it's reality. It's amazing. And then you'll learn not to store more from today, and you're going to find out, I don't even have to teach you how to handle the big stuff. You will be able to handle the next big thing because you learn how to play tennis. You learn how to get across the net, you're a better player. You learn how to play scales, you can start with twinkle, twinkle. It happens immediately because you trained yourself to let go instead of resist. And your preferences will fall off. Well, what will I do? You'll interact with the moment in front of you with love and compassion and inspiration. Everything will turn you on. If you were going camping and you're looking forward to going camping and it starts pouring, you just laugh. It's just everything's fun. Being open means bring it on, baby. I'm here. But what's going to happen next? Who cares? It's going to be fun. All right? In other words, by letting go of the garbage that you stored in there, which caused you to develop these limited preferences, you start to be open. And you start to get excited about everything. You love everything. You're inspired by everything. It's not, I need to find something that inspires me. That's because you're blocked. What you mean, I need to find something that inspires you, it has to fit all your garbage that you're stored in there. I like that, but it reminded me of my mother, and I didn't really get along very well with my mother. You understand that? You're limiting your happiness. Your preferences are destroying your life, and you think they are the nectar of your life. So by letting go, by learning to not store this garbage inside, but accept and honor and respect and appreciate life, all of life. But this happened, it made me sad. Good. Enjoy being sad. It's just an emotion. You who's experiencing it are not sad. You're experiencing an emotion of sadness. You don't change one iota. You're the most beautiful thing ever walked the face of the earth. Do you understand that? And then you can start to use the word God. You who's in there, when you stop getting sucked into the garbage you're looking at, are a very, very high being. And when you start to touch your being, instead of being distracted by your garbage, you start to feel ecstasy. That's where Buddha went. That's where Buddha went, into nirvana. All right. We've had an interesting discussion. Will you work on these things? It's not that you're not supposed to be happy. You're not an ascetic. A person who's let go of their preferences, it's not that they don't have any preferences. I tell you what, I'll give it to you this way. If you don't want to not have any preferences, then prefer everything. You can prefer everything. All right. Integrative.